start with something I haven't said out loud yet, at least on a mic. I haven't been sleeping well. Not occasionally, not rough week. For a while now, I have been doing what I know how to do. The list, the calendar, the showing up, the performance of having it together, while quietly running on fumes in ways I haven't talked about here on this podcast in public. I am going to be talking about it this season. Now, not as a crisis, not wrapped in a lesson I have already learned, but as something I'm still inside of in real time, because I think some of you are doing the same thing, calling the exhaustion busy, calling the sleeplessness a season, piling it under things to deal with later. We are going to look at that together this season. What rest actually costs when you don't have it. What it might be trying to say. But first, welcome to season 9. We are here. Now, if you've been with me since the beginning, I mean the real beginning, before the Korean episode titles, before Seoul, before 315 episodes, I want to say thank you before I say anything else. That number still catches me sometimes. 315. That's a body of work right there. That is years of showing up, of finding guests, of sitting across from people, of asking them to be honest with me, and trusting that you would receive what they gave, right? Thank you for making that worth it. If this is your first episode, if someone sent you this link, if the algorithm delivered you here, or if you stumbled in, welcome. You picked a good entry point. Season 9 is going to give you something. Now, the honest version of the energy I'm working in with, it's a little undone, right? But I know that sounds like a contradiction, but I think a lot of us know exactly what it feels like to be tired and more honest than you've ever been at the same time. Like something about being worn down, cracked something open. And what comes out wasn't collapse, right? So this is what I actually think. This is what I'm actually for. This is where I'm standing at the start of season 9. Not polished, not freshly rested, present, and done pretending otherwise. And on a personal note, I should say that this might be probably one of my favorite seasons so far, for so many reasons. First is 9 is quietly one of the most loaded numbers there is. My friends will tell you, if you know me, 9 is my favorite number. Now I was born on the 9th of October. But mathematically speaking, it's the last single digit, right? It's the end of the first complete cycle before you hit 10 and start over. And there's something about, standing at the edge of a full rotation, looking back at everything that single digits contained. This year is also the year I turn 40. It's my last year as a 39-year-old. And it's also my 9th season of the podcast. 9 is the only number that when multiplied by anything, the digits of the results always add back up to 9. Take, for example, 9 times 7 is 63. 6 plus 3 equals to 9, right? 9 times 12 is 108. 1 plus 0 plus 8 is 9. It keeps returning to itself. Mathematically incapable of losing itself no matter how far it stretches. Now, culturally and spiritually, because we're cultural people here, we're also spiritual beings here. 9 shows up everywhere in weight. Which is weight, right? In many African traditions, 9 is associated with completion and connection. In Chinese culture, it's the luckiest number, and it's also associated with longevity and eternity. I think they call it GU, and I'm saying that wrong, but it means the word for long-lasting. In Korean culture, it carries the similar, resonance. In the Bible, 9 appears in the 9 fruits of the Spirit, the 9th hour as the hour of completion, the hour Christ died. In Norse mythology, Odin hung on the world tree for 9 days to gain wisdom. 9 realms, 9 words. Anyways, you get my drift. Now, for a podcast specifically, 9 seasons is a serious body of work. Most podcasts don't survive 9 episodes. The ones that reach 9 seasons are the ones that become something, a community, a practice, a people, a place people turn to. And there's also this personal layer for me, like I said earlier on. I'm heading towards 40. 9 has a completion energy that rhymes with that. This is the last season where everything starts to, something turns over, right? Before a new decade, a new chapter. Season 9 is the last season of my 30s in a real sense. So Again, that's the whole intro right there. All right, we're done with 9. All right, now before we go anywhere, I want to spend real time in season 8. Not as a quick recap, but because what happened there really matters, and I don't want to skip past it like it was just content we produced. Season 8 was 40 episodes. 40. And if I'm being honest with you, there's no way to predict going in what it was going to become. Now, the episode had changed everything, and I mean literally, because it changed the numbers, it changed the conversations coming into my inbox. It's changed lives, and it's changed what I understood this podcast to be capable of. Was episode 15, Our Surrogate Journey, Welcoming Our Joy. That episode had 158 downloads. Now, for context, most episodes pull between 15 and 35 downloads. And I know download is for me as a cross-cultural podcaster where a lot of my audience are scattered across the world. Download is usually not a good metric because, for example, people listening in Nigeria, because of data issues, they don't download the stream. So anyways, if we're using that yardstick, it did a lot, better than my download metrics, right? Episode 15 nearly quadrupled that, and I've been sitting with why. Now, not from a content strategy place. I genuinely don't run this podcast like a content strategist. And if you've been here a while, you know that. But also from a human place, why did that particular episode land the way it did? I think it's because it was the most undefended I've ever been on this podcast. I mean, I think I cried. There was no research this, research that, no careful moderation. It was just, this is what we went through, and this is what it cost, and this is what it gave us. Here is joy. And people felt that. They felt the lack of armor. Then came the surrogate series, right? We did that through episode 15 through 19. And what I watched happen across these episodes was people who had never spoken about their own journeys, their own losses, their own quiet grief around fertility and family building, finding language for that, finding a place to post something they've been carrying silently. My inbox became a different kind of space after that series, and I'm still grateful for every person who trusted me with those messages. Now, season 8 also gave us the prostate cancer episodes. Now, if you don't know me, I'm a prostate cancer scientist. It's my day job, amongst other things. So we had episodes 29 through 32, which mattered deeply to me, not just personally, but professionally. I'm a researcher in that space. I spend my working hours thinking about what happens to men after cancer treatment, their quality of life, their silence, the ways the healthcare system either meets them or misses them entirely. Now, episode 30 with Mr. Ronald Odeleye, 55 downloads, the highest in that cluster, reminded me why this translation matters. Why taking what lives in academic journals and bringing it into a conversation two people can have on a Tuesday. That's not a lesser work conversion, right? That's real work right there. And then there were the episode I didn't pull the numbers, but I can't stop thinking about them, right? For example, episode 28, Raising Kids, Navigating Schools, 8 downloads, 8. And yet every single one of those 8 people who needed that conversation, I know because I needed it. I was sitting in it while I was moderating it. The episodes you make for the masses, an episode you make because the truth has to be said somewhere, and the size of the room doesn't really change the necessity of saying it. There's also something season 8 taught me. Downloads are data. They are not the whole story. And what did season 8 teach me? That the Korean titles weren't a choice that confused some people and resonated deeply with others. That when we name an episode in a language that isn't English, this says conversation. It says that this conversation lives somewhere between two worlds. And if you're willing to meet it there, come in. And that was the right choice for where I am and who I'm becoming. And I'm not, apologizing for it, right? I also learned from season 8 that grief and joy can live in the same episode, and that the most useful thing I can do as a host is to stay curious instead of staying comfortable. And then this sleep thing, this not resting thing was also present in season 8, even if I didn't name it. I can hear it when I listen back, the pace, the production schedule. I was juggling a lot. Running my lab while I was in Korea, the time zones. I'm still currently in Korea. I have separate time zones that I'm working on, UK, US, and all of it, Central, Eastern, Mountain, Pacific, Aleutian, Nigeria, UK. And the way I kept going when I probably needed to stop, I filed it under I'm fine. Now, season 9 is where everything's going to change, is where I hope to stop filing that. Okay. Now, let me tell you what's actually going on in my life right now, because some of this is still new since the last time I spoke to you directly. I'm in Seoul, South Korea. I'm here on a Fulbright U.S. Presidential STEM Scholar appointment, which is still a sentence I have to say slowly to believe it. I mean, I am at the Seoul National University. I'm doing research on cancer survivorship in a setting that has stretched everything I thought I knew about healthcare, about survivorship, about what medicine can look like when it holds more than one tradition at once. And this coming Wednesday, I'll actually go into the prestigious Iwa Women's University. Oh my God, clock it. To give a lecture to pharmacy students and scholars. I have been invited under the EGEP program. And let me read the email that I got from the professor who I'm collaborating with. Shout out to Dr. Lee, by the way. I mean, when I got it, I'm like, what in the world? Like, you know how you just go like, is this me? So she goes, hi, Dr. Mo, I would like to briefly introduce the EGEP seminar. EGEP stands for the IWA Global Excellence Program, which was launched in December. The program invites outstanding international scholars to IWA to share their research through seminars and academic discussions, and I'm very pleased to invite you as a speaker for this program. And they will have tenure track faculty members there. They will have graduate students. They will have senior undergraduate students in pharmacy and related fields. And yours truly will be one of those lineup. I'm pinching myself and going, how? Like, just how? Like, how did we get here? Like, okay, somebody just told me this is a dream culture. But I'm super excited about that. And I'm so thankful to God for just everything and all the opportunities and, that has just lined up to me to be where I am today. So I'll be at IWA this coming Wednesday. And I have some of my friends currently visiting from the UK and the US, and they'll be coming to support me. So excited about that. Okay, let's get back to Seoul. Seoul has done something to me. It's made me smaller in exactly the way you need to be smaller when you spent years being the expert in the room. Now, Korea has a whole system of medical knowledge that my PhD never introduced me to, even my clinical pharmacy background. There's a whole philosophy of the body and what it needs, and that runs parallel to everything I was trained in, and also sometimes says something different and sometimes says the same thing in a language I'm only beginning to learn. I have been going to a Haniwon, which is like a Korean traditional medicine clinic since I got here. And this is what I've been sitting with. Nigeria had something like this. We had indigenous healing knowledge, systems of understanding the body that predate colonization and that were largely dismissed or dismantled or discredited in ways that Korea's were not. And I still think we have it in Nigeria. Now, it might be my ignorance talking, but I hope it can become institutionalized, right? Growing up watching movies on Abijah and TV shows, you always see the traditional medicine practitioner looking all diabolic. And that kind of plants a seed of, I don't want to touch that, not even with a 10-foot pole. But Korea was able to institutionalize its medicine. They trained the practitioners, they built clinics, they named it, they kept it. And I keep thinking about what we've lost. I keep thinking about what it means that I had to come to Seoul to feel the weight of that loss about my own country, Nigeria. So that conversation is coming to this season. I don't exactly know yet exactly what shape it will take, but it's coming. And let's talk about the sleep. Now, I want to be specific because vague wellness talk is not what this podcast does. I'm not sleeping through the night consistently, right? Sometimes before I go to bed, I just lay in bed an hour or two in my mind running a full agenda that nobody's scheduled. I know some of it is time zone residue from travel, but I don't think that's really it. Because even when I was in Oklahoma and I wasn't doing a lot of traveling, I've always been like this since my teens, and I would not lie to you, feel like a superpower. Like the rest of you plebs can go to bed and I'm just up awake. My brain just lit up like a Christmas tree and I could get to do my work. But I think that a lot of it is this particular alertness that comes with carrying a lot. Self-inflicted for the most part, professionally, personally, as a mom, as a wife, a scientist, a person of faith, trying to stay integrated when the demands pull in every direction. But I've been beginning to wonder if some of it is also my body asking for something I haven't been giving it. Not just the hours of sleep, but quality stillness, permission to actually stop. And I'm afraid of that because I haven't been taught how to rest. I've also been, I put a post on Instagram. I was very honest with my followers there, and I've gotten some very good feedback that I plan to incorporate. I'm also talking to my therapist about it. I actually showed her some of your comments, and she was like, okay. So I'm considering EMDR, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Now, this was developed by psychologists in the 80s, and she noticed that when she moves her eye rapidly while thinking about distressing thoughts, they seem to reduce their intensity. So she turned that observation into a structured therapeutic protocol, and it's become one of the most researched trauma treatments we have. What is EMDR? Now, the core idea is that traumatic or distressing memories get stuck. They don't process the way normal memories do. Normally, our brain files everything away, integrates them. We can't recall them without being flooded. But with trauma, the memory stays raw. It doesn't feel like the past. It feels like now. Now, EMDR works by activating the memory while simultaneously engaging bilateral stimulations like eye movement, taps, tones, alternating left and right, which mimics what happens in REM sleep, the stage where the brain naturally processes and integrates the day's experience. And it's been used, it was originally developed for PTSD, like for combat veterans, assault survivors, accident trauma. But the evidence base has expanded, significantly. It's now used effectively for anxiety, depression, griefs, phobias. And some therapists call it small T trauma. And why is it relevant to sleep? This is the part where you find interesting. Disrupted sleep, particularly the one where you wake up in the night and your mind is racing, or the inability to fully let go into rest, is frequently connected to an over-alert nervous system where you've never fully learned to feel safe in stillness. Not because something dramatic happened necessarily, but because the body learned over time that vigilance was required. That staying alert was how you managed, that rest was something you had to earn or it came with risk. So EMDR has been, reported to really help with that, right? And they have all kinds of things that they're doing. I'll just leave that for you guys to go figure out. Why am I bringing this up specifically? Well, I'm a woman who has been high functioning for a long time, carrying a lot, and I've adapted to demands that require a version of me that I never really got to put it down. So I will be exploring that in therapy. And so this season, we're going to have a real conversation about rest. What steals it? What restores it? What we've been told about it that is incomplete? And I'm going to be honest about my own experience in real time. My issues with control, my issues with rest, my fears about stopping, just being still, and I'm not going to do this retrospectively, not after I have figured it out. You guys are going to be coming with me as we uncover just the whole of it. All right, so here's what season 9 is going to be. In a way, I would describe it to a friend. It's going to be more personal than season 8. And you're asking, what more could be more personal? I mean, you guys have seen it all. You've heard it all. Season 8 was actually already personal in ways that surprised me. But this season, I'm going further in. I don't have the patience for that, and neither do you. But we're going to be talking about things real time, meaning becoming a lot of less distance between what I'm living and what I'm bringing to the mic. So you'll all be my business. And the conversation I'm most excited about are the ones that sit at the intersection of the personal and the structural. And that's always been this podcast territory. We don't separate your inner life from the world you're navigating, like the way you sleep, the way you rest, the way your body carries what your mind tries to manage. None of that is separate from the systems and the histories and stories you were born into. I also want to talk to you about ambition this season, what it actually costs, what it asks of the body, what it means to be a woman who is genuinely doing important work in the world. And I'm saying that without apology, because a lot of who you are and you have been taught to minimize it, what it means to be, that woman, and also admit to have a body that requires care, right? And also be feeling at the rest in ways you haven't admitted to anyone else. So I will be bringing up that this season, right? I also want to talk about identity emotion. I'll be talking about some of mine. What happens to your sense of self when everything around you changes, right? Your country, your career, your children's needs, your own needs, right? Your the version of yourself you've been performing that starts to feel like it belongs to somebody else. I also like to talk about faith, how that shows up in the ordinary. What does orientation towards God actually looks like when you're that tired and that honest? I will also be exploring a series on paths to divorce. Now, let me explain what that really looks like. There's been a lot of noise, like just sound bites going around my algorithm. You know how you just click on something and then it becomes your whole identity, your Instagram identity. And I found some interesting conversations going on amongst a pocket of friends about quiet quitting in your marriage, where you're still there, but your mind left a long time ago. And I call that path to divorce. And I call that path to divorce as a way not to conclude like everyone coming on that segment is divorcing or is advocating for divorce, but really as a way to explore, what could be going on. And I actually put a question born from the conversation I had with some people, is it healthy to emotionally detach from your spouse in order to survive a marriage? And for this season, I'd like to explore that and hopefully provide support to people who might be in that position. And so if you have a story to tell regarding that or any of the other things I've talked about, or somebody who could be a perfect fit for that episode, please reach out to us. You know where we're at. So yeah, before I let you go, I have a few things to say directly, to you specifically. If this is your first episode, you didn't land here by accident, by the way. People who end up in this corner of the internet are usually looking for something real, something that takes them seriously, something that sounds like a person who has thought carefully about what it means to live a whole life with integrity. And that's what we do here every season 9 especially. So stay with us. If you have been here since season 1 or season 4 or somewhere in the middle, you're part of why 315 episodes exist. I need you to know that. And here's the one thing I want you to do right now. Not later, not now. Not later, but now. Think about one thing you've been calling fine that isn't fine. It doesn't have to be the sleep, though for many of you it might be the sleep. It could be a relationship, a dream you've been postponing until you're less tired, or you just keep, being tired. The way you talk to yourself in the hours when nobody's watching, just name it. You don't have to solve it. You don't even have to post about it on your IG or WhatsApp stories. Just stop pretending it isn't there. That is the first move. Everything else follows from honesty. Now, season 9 is the season where we'll stop waiting until we're ready. We go anyway, tired and clear and here. So, I'll see you in the next episode. This is a Multiple Podcast. Season 9, we are here, we're outside. And this has been your host, Mo. Bye for now.